I suspect that none of you here deal with same-sex attraction, but I never know, because 2 weeks after my book came out, I was on the Howard Stern show. So I had people come up to me, and not that long ago, like Mr. America, husband with 4 kids, comes up to me and says, I'm dealing with homosexuality, I'm leading a double life. So you never know. First of all, the gay revolution started right here in San Francisco, and it's going to end here. I believe that. And I think this is a critical time, and I think it's just over. It's just over. There's nothing down in the Castro that I haven't done. And none of it works. None of it at all. So much in the news right now, it's all about marriage equality, gay marriage. And those people are sick and they're desperate because they've tried everything. And now they say, well, let's try to be like the heterosexuals. Let's try marriage. I walked into the Castro in 1988 when I was 18 years old. You never heard a word about gay marriage back then. It was all about how us gay people, we had gotten over all that. We could have sex with who we wanted, when we wanted, how we wanted. We weren't going to be tied down and encumbered by marriage or kids or anything like that. What that brought, of course, you're all so young here, but it brought about sort of the gay China syndrome, and that was AIDS, where our actions and our lifestyle just destroyed us. And in the 90s, I just always bought black clothes because all I did was go to funerals all the time. We don't hear about AIDS so much because most of these guys down here are taking $30,000 worth of pharmaceuticals every year. They're HIV positive just to stay alive. But nothing has really changed. They're just living longer. But we have other things here in the city too. Right now, syphilis rates in the gay community are extremely high, and as is gonorrhea. The gonorrhea we have here is immune to most antibiotics. Let me tell you first about how somebody that's raised in the Catholic Church ends up in San Francisco and then later becomes a gay porn star. I grew up in the 70s, and we were really the first generation raised on porn. It was when it first became so-called mainstream, and this was before the internet was even thought of. But back then we had it in magazines, mainly things like Playboy, where nowadays Playboy is no different than People or Us or Cosmopolitan or any other magazine. All the biggest movie stars, especially the women, are on the cover. But the guys, in a very sick way, are interviewed a lot of times. Our former vice president was just interviewed in Playboy, and he's supposed to be a Catholic. It's a pornographic magazine, all it is. So as a young boy, I got hooked very much into porn, and mainly into Playboy. But you also saw Playboy starting to branch out and get on TV. Like in 1980, Hugh Hefner did a Playboy pajama party with the Village People on regular TV. So it wasn't anything sleazy anymore. And And like somebody said earlier, the young man there, porn, even at that time, was not considered really odd. I went to Catholic school my whole life, and us boys used to trade porn magazines at school on the play area. So by the time I was, got into puberty, if you're looking at all that pornography, sexual imagery constantly, especially now, because a lot of it is very homosexual, with types of lesbianism, male homosexuality, and now with 50 Shades of Grey, bondage and discipline, you get all types of perversity. You're actually going to end up extremely numb to all this stuff, and you're going to end up very confused, like I was, because you're going to be excited with all these different images. And really, you're not going to know, are you gay? Are you straight? Are you bi? We're all living with that now, because now we've got like preteens that are coming out as cross-dressers and transsexuals, transvestites. This is all something very real and very tragic now. So when I was, let's skip ahead. When I was 18, I figured the best place to figure out where you are in the world sexually would be San Francisco. Now, at that time, it's moved down to Hollywood. At that time, San Francisco was the porn capital of the world, although they're moving back up here right now, because in LA, they passed a lot of ordinances mandating condoms in porn. We don't have any such laws up here. Even if they did, San Francisco would not enforce them. So we have Kink.com down at the Armory building, pumping out porn every day. The gay porn capital is still right here in San Francisco. Most content that you see on the internet is made right here. When I walked into the Castro, I think all of you are probably locals, the Castro is the gay Mecca, not far from here. And back then, it was a little scary. That was the age of AIDS. And then if you caught AIDS, you would die. And you would die fairly soon. I lost most of my friends to AIDS. A reporter from New York contacted me just a few months ago, and he was doing research on an old gay porn film from the 90s. And it's not considered a classic in gay cinema, just so. And he asked me about the cast, what had happened to them, because he couldn't track any of them down. And I phoned him back and I said, because they're all dead. They all died of AIDS, they're dead. And that was one film where actually every actor died. And now what I want to do, I want to lift the veil on the gay lifestyle, because you're not getting it in the media. You see these few actors, reporters, very famous people from Hollywood, from LA, and you're getting a really sanitized, sort of bizarre image of what the gay lifestyle is like. And right now, they're pushing for gay marriage because they want to show that the gay lifestyle is just like anything else. Instead of a man and a woman, it's two men, or two women, and it's nothing like that. Basically, what you have in the gay community are survivors of either childhood sexual abuse or early exposure to pornography, or absent or abusive parents. They're mentally ill. They get together, these communities like the Castro, they have sex with each other, and they give each other diseases. That's basically what it's about. Okay? When you get into that lifestyle, you buy into it 100%. I did my last porn film in 1999. It was so statistically disgusting that I almost didn't make it. I almost died. And when I was in the hospital dying of it, my mother was there, and my mother was praying for me, and I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept God. I wouldn't accept that the gay lifestyle was wrong. I was going to ride it right to hell itself, because it was all I had, and I wasn't going to give it up. And a lot of the people you have to understand that are in the lifestyle, they're the same way. Because especially when you go to it as a kid, you grew up wounded, either your father didn't love you, or he was abusive to you, or somebody molested you, or you got messed up by looking at porn, and you get into the gay lifestyle, and suddenly things start making sense. Like, it's like, oh, I was born this way. Like Lady Gaga, she's a puppet of Satan, because she's got all these people, especially kids, convinced that, oh, I'm born this way. And that's why things are making sense when I get into the gay lifestyle. They're heavily, heavily invested in it. Very much so. That's why when you have family members, when you have friends that are in the gay lifestyle, if you can do one thing, don't give in. Don't give in. Don't go to the weddings. Don't have them over to your house. As a couple, individually is fine. Just don't get into this. Because, you know why? Because everybody else does, and the culture does. And they really have nobody else. When I was in the gay lifestyle, my family, God bless them, they were really away from the church, not as much as I was, but they were. I really had nobody to go to if I wanted to get out. At one point, I was contemplating getting out, and my mom and dad had me meet with a priest, God rest his soul, and they had clued him in a little bit about what was going on with me. And his message was to me was just, Joe, kind of tone it down. You know, your parents are worried. But that was about it. So I did it. I went back. I came back to hear it. So when you have that gay person, and I use the word gay, we're not supposed to use that word because nobody's gay. We're supposed to use same-sex attraction. I use gay just because that's what we're all used to. But when you have that person that's in the gay lifestyle, just be a beacon of light for them. You know what? They're going to be the one that you hate that they hate. They're going to be the one, you're going to be the one that they say, well, you won't accept me. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. I'm cutting you off. They'll do it, let me tell you, because I did it. But you be that person. Because when they ever wake up and they want to get out, you're the one they're going to come to. Let me tell you. Because none of these other people, right, they're going to go to. Because they just accept it. And, I want to tell you that I know it's hard for people to believe, because I can kind of see it in some of your faces. I know you've got friends or loved ones that are in the gay lifestyle. But I can tell you, without exception, that every single one of them has some sort of traumatic event in their life that turned them. Something, I know it, because I've talked to thousands of these men and women, every single one of them. And I'll go over it again. Molestation, a parent, usually the father, that was not loving, or an early exposure to pornography. I've seen that more and more every single day because I outreach to these guys and gals down in the Castro at the three big fairs, the Folsom Street Fair, the Castro Street Fair, and Gay Pride. So many of the ones your age now have gone into the gay lifestyle because of pornography. Because they saw porn, they got numb to it because they saw so much of it. And eventually just nothing excited them anymore, and they turned to more sicker and sicker and more hardcore material. And they end up looking usually at homosexual or gay porn. And that's why they end up in the gay lifestyle, because they feel that they're gay. And when it's the farthest thing from the truth, they're not gay at all. About the gay lifestyle, the one last thing I want to let you know is it is essentially, it's a satanic deception. Because these people are sick, and they're wounded, and they're frightened, and they're scared, and they don't know what to do. They turn to the gay lifestyle because they see it as the answer to all of their problems. I saw it that way too. I thought by being gay that everything in my life would suddenly make sense. And it's one of the greatest lies on earth. Because all those boys that I came down here with that were like me, they're all dead. They're dead.